This should be a lesson in self-awareness, if nothing else. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Hollywood movie director Ryan Coogler being mistaken for a bank robber in Atlanta, Georgia. And to be more exact, he was at a Bank of America location in Buckhead. We'll talk about why that's important a little bit later. But this incident happened back on January 7th of this year, 2022. So the question is, why are we just now finding out about it? Well, some video got out there to the public a day or two ago, and all the media types, they're opining on it, they're giving their 2 cents, talking about, oh, this is racism, banking while black, you can't escape it, even if you're a big rich millionaire, all this, that, and the third. I don't think it's racism. I think there's a more rational and reasonable explanation for all of this. And before I get into it, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you'll see Atlanta local news talk about the whole situation. They'll show the arrest. After the arrest, they'll talk to the bank teller, all that good stuff. And after we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep detail analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Bank of America and Atlanta police apologizing to Ryan Coogler after he was handcuffed here at the Bank of America branch on West Paces Ferry in Buckhead. Handcuffed even though he'd done nothing wrong, and no one realizing they were in the presence of Wakanda legend. Ryan Coogler waiting for the teller to bring him the cash that he wanted to withdraw from his account. Suddenly,
what's going on, man?
he was in handcuffs. Atlanta police thinking they might be detaining a bank robber, not realizing they had just detained the writer and director of one of the world's biggest blockbuster movies, Marvel's Black Panther, filmed in Atlanta. Ryan Coogler, now back in Atlanta filming the sequel due out in November, Wakanda Forever. Coogler was at the Bank of America on West Paces in Buckhead trying to withdraw $12,000 cash quietly, slipping the teller a handwritten note. The bank called 911.
It just says I want to withdraw $12,000. Just be discreet.
Atlanta police interviewed the teller.
My stomach started turning, I'm like, okay, it just seems odd because you're making a withdrawal, but you hand me a note on the back of a deposit slip, and you keep telling me, look at the note, but you don't want to talk to me.
And Coogler telling police he was just trying to withdraw the money discreetly and safely.
If I don't write down on a note how much I want out, and then I don't want it ran through the money counter right there at the desk, the whole bank ends up looking at me.
Atlanta police quickly realized Coogler was just a customer, not a bank robber.
I apologize for that.
Bank of America told us, we deeply regret that this incident occurred. It never should have happened, and we apologize to Mr. Coogler. Coogler, out of handcuffs, went back into the bank to complete his transaction, then went back to filming Wakanda Forever, saying now that he has moved on from this. A frightening experience for Ryan Coogler and for the 2 people who were with him who were also handcuffed and detained. Atlanta police telling them that because of the nature of that 911 call, they had no choice but to handcuff them first and ask questions later.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, there was a whole lot there in that clip. Shout out to them out there in Atlanta for doing a great job reporting the news. Very well done. And before I say anything about Ryan Coogler or the incident, I just want to say that I have nothing against Ryan Coogler. I like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, all that good stuff. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. Shout out Michael B. Jordan. Really good movie, really good cast. I enjoy it. I enjoy his films from what I've been able to see so far. I've not seen Creed, but I heard it was good. It's not even about trying to bash Ryan Coogler, but I think what he did here was just make a mistake. He lacked self-awareness. Now I understand he's trying to get out like $12,000 from his account. He doesn't want to have any attention on him. He wants to be discreet. I understand that. You're in Atlanta. You're in Buckhead, where crime is surging. Let's not forget, Buckhead are trying to secede from Atlanta proper. I go to Atlanta a lot. I live not far away. Buckhead is like in the northern part. It's a more affluent part of Atlanta, and the crime's out of control. Lenox Mall is in Buckhead or in that general area, and it's become pretty much a shooting gallery. You got to go through a metal detector at the escalator to walk through the mall. It's a whole big mess in Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia right now. The crime is crazy, okay? So I understand he is afraid of what's happening in Atlanta, in a chocolate city, black city. But anyway, he's afraid the same way she's afraid. So when he goes in the bank with basically a disguise on, you saw what he had on. He had on a N95 mask covering his nose, mouth, all of that. He had on dark shades covering his eyes, and he had on a hat. That's basically a disguise. And then you pass her a note on a deposit slip, right? Or on a withdrawal slip. And it was crazy. I'll place that note on the screen before you. You might not be able to see it, but he wrote directly in the area where it says, do not write. So he wrote in that area some instructions. That right there is a big red flag, okay? That's a bank robber 101. You have on a disguise and his people. It was like, I think he was talking about the baby nurse, somebody taking care of his baby and somebody else. They were in the black SUV parked outside of the bank, like right in front. You saw where the newsman was? They were like right there from what I was able to read in the black SUV waiting for him. So they got arrested too. It's like, okay, y'all the getaway driver was going on. A black SUV in front, you having a disguise and you passing her a note. I mean, what's going on? You know where we at right now? We're in Atlanta, we're in Buckhead, where crime is crazy, where we got all kind of robberies and shootings and killings going on. This is not safe. Now I understand the other part of it where he says, hey, I gave my ID, I had my bank card and my PIN number, but the lady was already spooked from the whole thing about the written note. And then he was trying to withdraw $12,000. If you go anything beyond $10,000, they got to report to the federales. So when she tried to do it, it was a notice on the screen that flagged it. So you got a flag on the screen, you got a disguise on, getaway car outside, handing me a handwritten note, which is an automatic red flag to any bank teller. So she's afraid, she's scared. Now, did she overreact? Possibly so. But it could have been avoided if he would have gone about it a little bit differently. I'll talk about what he could have done in a minute. So she calls the police. And then when she's trying to ask him questions about what's going on, he's just pointing to the note, trying not to talk at all. So it's like, okay, you're being weird. Why are you being so weird? And I'll link to that full police audio from the call, from the 911 call. I'll link to that in the description box below. But see, he handled that all the way wrong. If it's me and I'm trying to be discreet and I'm trying to get out like $12,000 in cash, I'm going to go into the bank and say, hey, can I talk to a manager? Okay, first and foremost, can I talk to a manager? And then once I talk to the manager, I'm like, hey, all right, I'm Brian Coogler. I'm a director and I'm trying to get out a large sum of money. And I don't want to have the money counted right in front of the bank because I don't want it to be like people looking at me and they're targeting me. I don't really feel safe. So can we do that a different way? Or even call the bank before you get there and ask how to go about it. That's what I would do. I wouldn't just be at the counter just trying to do that, just writing a note on the slip, scaring the girl. All right. And then the whole thing about racism. Where's the racism at? Let's be clear. Everyone involved here was black. Ryan Coogler, he's black. The bank teller, pregnant black woman, scared about her baby because she don't want him to come out here with a gun and try to shoot her. The police officers, they're all black too. Like the arresting officers, they were all black. So if there's racism involved here, where is it at? I'd love to be able to find it because I don't see it. I don't see it unless we're going to say that it's black on black racism. How are you going to be able to prove that? I mean, I think it made a mistake. I think there was a mistake made on both sides, but the mistake was made more from Ryan Coogler. A handwritten note, come on, man. That's automatic bank robber status. A lot of people are trying to defend him because they say, oh, he wasn't posing a threat. He didn't have a gun. That's not the way that bank robberies always work, okay? Now, I do know one guy from Virginia, and if you look and find, you probably find who I'm talking about. He was a serial bank robber. He robbed a credit union with a pistol and let the gun off in the union to scare the bank teller. Now, that happens, but sometimes they'll come in there with a disguise on or some kind of face obscuring thing and slide a note talking about, I want to be able to get some money. I want to be discreet. No problems. That's bank robber 101. You see, Ryan Coogler, I think he had good intentions, trying not to draw any kind of heat to himself, trying to be under the radar, not trying to have any problems, but he went about it the wrong way. In his apprehension, he did not have self-awareness. If he was to just look outside of himself and look at what he was doing and be like, okay, that looks kind of fishy. Maybe I don't want to go in there with a disguise on and slide a teller a note and scare her to death, maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I say, hey, man, can I talk to a manager? And I've been there. I've been the guy getting out large sums of money. When I was young, man, like 24, 25, right around that, I cashed a check for like $13,000. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even my bank. It was a different bank. I went to their bank to cash it. You know, it took a little while. They wanted my ID and all that kind of stuff. And after that, it was no problem. And everybody in there was white. You know, if everything is cool, everything is good, you can just cash a check, go about your business. You know, and what I do right now, I might make large, you know, transfers and whatnot, but I don't really have these problems. I don't really have this issue of, you know, being harassed or getting arrested. I think he just made a mistake in the way he approached the situation. If he would have just asked the teller, he said he didn't want to say anything. He didn't want to say anything out loud because he didn't want the bank to be all on him, even though nobody was really in there. It was when the police came, it was like him and one other person at the counter. Nobody was really in there. Maybe the tellers, but they're going to see what you're doing regardless of what. They got cameras in there, sir. They can see you. So the tellers and the management, they're going to see you regardless of what. The people in the bank aren't really a concern necessarily. And if they are, just talk to a manager. And once you get to the manager's office, explain the situation. And matter of fact, the police officer in the body cam footage, I'll link to that in the box, the officer recommended he do that. And he was like, yeah, man, I'll do that now. Y'all to put guns on me. I mean, what the officer said was a correct suggestion. I think that Ryan Coogler got a little bit spooked before he went in there and made the wrong move. This is not racism. It's not banking while black. It was simply a mistake that he probably won't do again. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what happened here? Do you feel like it's racism? Do you feel like Ryan Coogler was singled out and harassed by black cops, black teller, black everybody because of his race? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. He did not really see himself for how he was projecting, the image he was projecting and what he did with the note and how he was acting. He didn't see himself. And I think if he looks back on it, he'd be able to see. And to his credit, I've not heard him speak out about this publicly. I've not heard him say it's racism and I was targeted. I've not heard that from him. What I see is a lot of these media types on the left trying to generate clicks and views and views and ratings off of that, talking about how racist it was. But that's not what he is saying, at least not from what I've seen so far. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.